Hello everybody and welcome to the CreatorSpace Online. We have our Blender 3D animation tutorial session. Today is part 1. We are starting to build a model for a short animation. So the goal here is that we're going to take you through a journey over the next 4 months. So starting today, we're going to add the other sessions for you to be able to book as well. So we're going to do these great tutorials. And then after you see the tutorial, we want you to do this project that basically you've been assigned to do. So create what Leon's going to go over today. And then we will have these interactive sessions where we can then share and ask questions about how the process went. So we're really excited to start this with Leon today. So I just want to thank all our partners in this project. So we have the Canada Council for the Arts, and then we have our library partners, Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, Wasaga Beach Public Library. You can access this software, Blender, on our iMac computers at each library. So they're all there, up to date. So we're using Blender. It's a free software you can download, blender.org, and we will go from there. So here's, without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Leon, and he's going to start this journey with you. So here we go, Leon.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome back, everybody. It's nice to see you again. Uh, for those of you that has been following my tutorials on Workshop for Blender, thank you very much, and hopefully that workshops help with your understanding and your journey with Blender. Like Tom said, we are going to create a little bit of mini animations, kind of like a short mini video animations that by the end of the workshops that everybody will have an understanding of how the process was it's going to be using Blender. Um, the theme, I decided to have a theme for my process, my animation is that I'm gonna make something for Easter. With Easter is coming up soon, so when you're thinking about Easter, you're thinking about Easter egg, Easter bunny. So I'm gonna try to make like a mini short animations involving those two subject and and in the process telling you like how I usually make animations in Blender. So hopefully with you guys can follow along, and you can for those of you that will come back and like to show me your work, what you uh, trying to do or what you have been doing, I'll be happy to meet you guys for our next workshop. So yeah, let's start with the the project right now. Okay, so as you can see, when you open Blender, you'll have this. When you put a general, when you go to File, New, General, you get this. Blender start ready to go, and this is the camera, and this is the lighting. So we don't really need this at the moment. So I'm just gonna hide that. And now this is I've been debating whether which way of doing it, because but I decided I think it's better for you to learn how to do sculpting. I'm going to make the Easter egg for this workshop, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to model it and sculpt it, and then make a low poly model for the egg, and then I'm going to texture paint it, and then we're going to rig it and maybe animate it really quickly, right? So that's a lot to uh, cover for this workshop, but let's do it. Let's see how far we can go, and we'll continue on for the next workshop if I can't get it finished right now. So now, if we're gonna do sculpting, I want you to go to File, and you want to go to New, and you see the options here for sculpting. Now, the reason why I'm not going to this tab here from layout to sculpting, because when you go from new and sculpting, you will get this quad sphere here. This is it's kind of like a clump of clay if you think about it, and that's really nice to manipulate because you don't need to adding all the adding subdivision into your cubes manually. Blender will already give you this for you to start to sculpt it right away. For making an egg, we don't really need to do the sculpting. Technically, you can just model it normally uh, by using just by doing the manipulating the vertex points and something like that, and then use the subdivision surface to do that. But the reason why I decided to go to sculpting, and just to give you a heads up for the next set of workshop when we start doing character, which is like the bunny, right? That's a more complicated subject. So sculpting, let's start now and teach you and explain to you what we can do with the tool. Now, in the sculpting here, you got the basically this is like a very dense ball. As you can see, like the sphere, it's the sphere has been subdivided so much it's actually becoming round. So this is basically a cube that has been uh, subdivided, and then it looks like a ball, but technically it is that's why they call it a quad sphere, I guess. Now, in the sculpt mode, before that, I'm gonna go to normally what I do is I'm gonna go to the preferences and go to navigation. Now, normally what you get the orbit method of your navigation is turntable here, right? So that's the default. So when you can't really see it here, but anyway, so like it's the turntable is using the world in order for your camera for your 3D viewport to rotate, while if we change it into a trackball, your 3D viewport will focus center in your object and it will rotate around the object, right? So that's really helpful for doing a sculpting because you want to focus on and then rotating your sculpt, but not the whole world, right? So you want to focus on how to see the different side of your object. So that's the first thing I like to do when I'm doing sculpting is to go to my preferences, navigation, and change it into trackball. So that's what I'm doing. Now, since this is like a very simple egg, like, the shape of the egg is very simple too. So what I need to do is to get elastic deform here, right? This or a grab. Actually, grab probably better, right? And as you can see, you have the circle here. That's your brush. You can go here or right click to see the radius of the brush. Wait a minute. I'm not sure why my shortcut doesn't. Okay. So this is the brush. You can change the radius up and down, right? Or you can go up to the top here, your active tool. And there's another one here. You can go to tool and you get another one. But I generally like to use this property tool here on the right side. And I have a shortcut, which is the left bracket there to reduce it, and right bracket is to on your keyboard to bring it up. I like to do that way. And now what I want to do is the strength. The strength goes from 1 to 0. So basically, one, it will affect everything in the brush, will affect your objects absolutely, and 0 is, well, you can't really do anything, right? You can't move anything. So 1, if you move it to 1 here, you can just bring everything up. So the strength, I generally, for this, I want to go around, yeah, just 0.5 is good. It's just half for now. And I'm gonna bring it up. I mean, it's like I'm gonna enlarge the brush, and then I'm going to click on the top of the sphere, and then I'm gonna drag it up. As you can see, it's dragging it, look like it dragging so maybe I'll bring the strength up a bit more, and you can manipulate the sphere, like you can make manipulate a clay, right? So you want to go to the side, make sure it's in the middle. Yeah, it look kind of lumpy right now, right? So don't worry about that for now. Just make sure you get the shape. Again, this is probably easier to do it with moving the vertex and using Subdivision Service. But the reason why I decided to go teaching you using the sculpting is just so you get familiar with sculpting, because we're going to use that a lot to create our character next. So let's bring the radius down. The strength down, and let's bring it down. Play around with the grab, and you can get the thing about sculpting like a very simple object like eggs is you get this lumpy look. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't look very smooth. So what I want to do is I'm gonna go to what's the smooth here? The smooth here, smooth brush, and then we're gonna smooth the objects to get better, more. Okay, so I'm gonna get the grab again and just grab a little bit some of the side here. All right, and then I'm gonna change it into a smooth brush again. Then go to the front view and go to grab. Side view. Top view. This is why doing the egg with sculpting is not efficient. But again, this is just for giving you like an idea and help you understand how sculpting work. So again, we're gonna go to smooth, reduce the brush, smooth object. The cool thing about sculpting is it's really good of making an unorganic object. So like eggs is very smooth, so that's why it's not good to use sculpting, because it's generally takes longer for you to get a proper look of the eggs, because you have to keep rotating and rotating the object here in order to get a smooth look. And that's okay. And I mean, that's why we're learning here right now, just to figure out how to use the tool that Blender has in order to create your right. Again, like, this is another tool, like I said before, another tool for you to use to create your art in Blender. Blender is just a tool, so depending on whether you like to modeling with sculpting, using a sculpting tool, or just a normal 3D modeling, it's up to you. It's basically, the tool is there, and you as an artist will decide which one is easier for you to use. So there's no right way or wrong way of doing things. And that's applied to pretty much every other program out there, right? Because it doesn't matter whether you're using Adobe or some other program, right? At the end of the day, what people see is your final product. They don't care what program you use, right? And as long as it looks good, that's all that matters. The only time that you need to know specific program is when you're working on a big production company, right? They need to, let's say, working with Maya instead of Blender. Then you have to learn how to use Maya in order to be able to work with them and work with everybody in the production company. But at the end of the day, like, if your basic in modeling in Blender is strong, you can transfer your skill to Maya, not a problem, right? So it is, again, it's the tool, and you as an artist is the one that going to pretty much get the final look. Okay, I think that's look okay, right? There's a little bit of sharpen here. I mean, you can fix that by getting closer to it and make it even using a smooth tool, right? But we don't need to worry about this, because we are not going to this is not the final product. This is just to help you get a free flow of modeling. And once this is done, we are going straight to make it into, see, a low res model. Let's see, modeling. Okay, so we have this. We have eggs here. We don't want to animate this egg because it has a lot of subdivisions in it, and there's a lot of like polygon, and that will really, like, it's a pain to render, or to to render, or even like to animate later on. This is not bad because it's only one small object, but once you get like a very complicated sculpt in Blender, you don't want to in Blender, you don't want to render that sculpt because like animate it. Like it's okay to render a sculpt as a one single image, but if you want to render an animation, make a model with a sculpting, yeah, good luck with rendering that. That's going to take a long time. Most personal computer will not be able to, or not fast enough to render that kind of information. So, in order for us to do to animate this and then render it fast enough, we need to we need to make this model less polygon, less information. So next thing we want to do is create, let's go to object mode, and then we are going to create a cube, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it an X-ray here, and I'm going to expand the cube, involving like kind of encompassing the egg there, right? Next thing we want to do is we are going to add Subdivision Service, and we'll just put it 3 for now. That's a good for now. The viewports and the renders, you want to put 3 as well. And next is, let's expand this again. Next is to get the shrink wrap here, modifier, add modifier, add shrink wrap. Okay, and you want to go to target, quad sphere, and voila, you got your egg with your cube. As simple as that. So if that's your quad sphere there, there's your sculpting, your sculpt, and that is your simple model there. So definitely, if you go, and because this is like we have using the modifier here, subdivision surface, it's technically still a cube, right? But if you go to edit mode, this you editing a cube basically, right? But if you remove, if you turn off the subdivision surface, yeah, if you turn off the subdivision surface, it'll just become a normal cube. Okay, so we obviously want to have the cube following. Then what we want to do is we want to apply the shrink wrap. Oh, let's go to normal mode. Apply the shrink wrap. Oh, sorry. Go from the top first. Apply your subdivision, and then apply your shrink wrap. Voila. So now, if you edit this object, you got all these vertices polygon instead of just a cube, right? So, and then if you want to right click, you shade smooth that look pretty smooth as an egg. Okay, so there you go. You got your egg model by using the sculpting, and then you shrink wrap it, the cube, in order to get the lower the lower count polygon number into the sculpting quad sphere. Now the next thing we want to do is texture painting. Now this is something that I just recently found in Blender, which is, then I really like it very much, because if we go to, let's say, go to UV editing here, right? Okay, got this. I'm gonna divide this, and then I'm gonna make this window into a shader editor. Okay. So what I normally do, or people normally do before, is they're going to unwrap this this object here, your model. You're going to unwrap your model, which is like, say, go to you go to Smart UV project or unwrap it, or in this case, let's say if you click the middle here, and then you can get the mark seam. That means this is going to unwrap from the middle. If we're going to unwrap, as you can see, you unwrap from the middle there. Basically, the egg is divided into two, and you peel off the skin of the model, and it becoming flat into 2D texture. I mean, not texture, UV map here. Now, before, what you would do is you take this UV map, you export it, and then you bring it to a painting to a software like Photoshop, right? And then in Photoshop, you start painting. You paint the your UV. Once you've done your UV, once you're done painting your UV, right? Like UV, I'm gonna create that. You will connect that UV, the painted UV, and then wrap it back into your model in 3D, right? So that's the old way of me doing it. So I'm adding textures like a 2D flat texture, and then I'm attaching it to the model in 3D. Now the new way is you still unwrap it, right? You still unwrap your. We're going to paint directly on the model. That's the one that I just found out, which is really neat. So you still have to unwrap your model, right? But the difference is, I don't need to unwrap it really nicely. I can just like use unwrap a Smart UV project, and Blender will try to unwrap it as fast as it can, and it looks very cluttered there, but you don't need to worry about it. And then next thing we want to do is to add some. If you go to the property, you want to add new. You're adding new materials here. As you can see, material and shader, the shader editor, you can have basically it's the same options here and here. I like to work in a shader editor here, but people can work from here. It doesn't matter. But in this editor, which is like shader editor, I want to attach a material, and I want to attach image texture, right? And I want to create new, and then I want to name this egg texture or color, doesn't matter. And press OK. And then I'm going to attach this to the base color. And as you can see, there's nothing there. I mean, like, so next thing we want to do is going to, let's see, going to object mode here. And then if you click on texture paint, boom, that's, you got a black color there, right? But if you go to up here to the tool, right? So right now you have these brushes. It's like a normal brush, and then you have soften, smear, clone. But like to draw, Like right now, what we want to do is we want to fill it. We want to fill the whole egg with what color? Because this is an Easter egg, you can color it any color you want, right? So this is the color that you have here right now, and I would change it into. I want to use the base to be orange, I guess, somewhere orange. You know what? Make it blue, really blue, and then get you connect the fill. You click on the fill, and then you fill it. There you go. Your egg's blue. Perfect. Now we're gonna go back to brush. Put this down a little bit, and we're gonna start painting. And let's change it into, say, this color here. And then we're just gonna brush the middle. Basically like painting normally, right? So you're painting directly on your model, which is amazing. I like that. So, okay. Now, the difference is there is no erase in here, right? If you see, there's no erase options, right? So what you want to do is you want to add your palette to the color palette here. Press new, and then you want to press new palette color. This is the red that we want to keep, right? Now, I forgot about the blue color, so and let's try see if we can get the same color close here. Probably not. So let's try this again. Let's fill it, make it blue as a base here. Okay, and then add it into your color palette. Okay, and then if I click on this color here, the red, it will automatically change to the red color. It will save that, and we'll go to brush and red here, and we'll do it again real quickly. Right, so it doesn't have, like, I'm just doing this really quickly. So all right, let's add some green dot. Why not? Right, so again, like, you want to choose your better color from what I'm choosing right now. I'm just making random colors that doesn't make sense, but whatever. You will be able to do that when you have time in the future. Okay. And I want to add this color to my color palette so I can use and then let's say if you want to erase the color, you want to use the color. Let's say I want to erase this red color. I just choose the blue color, and then I erase it like that. That's how you erase. That's why you need the color palette, just so you can do the erasing. There's no erase color, so just make sure that you just basically painting it on top of it with a new color. Okay, I'm coloring with the mouse, so it's pretty tricky. I normally use what do you call it again? I normally use like a tablet. So one more thing that we can do is maybe use a white, kind of bluish white. Then I'm going to make the triangle in middle. There you go. Perfect. So again, don't forget to add your color palette, and you want to change you want to name your palette too if you have multiple palettes in one scene. So let's say this is Easter egg. So there you go. You got an Easter egg already ready to go. So now, if we're gonna go to, let's change this into 3D viewport and make sure, and we go to render view. As you can see, that's a render. And if you add the lights on, you get the lights. So you can see, let's change the angle of the camera. I'm going to change the camera to view. So I can move the camera like with the 3D viewport. And then once I get the proper angle for the viewport, I'm gonna uncheck the camera to view. So then if you want to rotate, you just gonna rotate the viewport instead of the camera. So again, it's right now you're in the render option. So when you render this is how it looks like. You're seeing it. Isn't that cool? You can. So this is really helpful in terms of getting texturing on, like in your characters or your objects in the future. Now, obviously, if you're looking for a more realistic look, that means you have to create. There's a different way of doing that. It's more complicated because you need to create a texture. You can either get the texture from online, like a realistic texture, or you can create it yourself using the Blender tools here too. But that's a totally different. That's a whole different subject that we're not going to touch right now. Right now, this is done. The egg modeling is done. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to rig this character. Okay, so let's see if we can get go to animation, right? So is there? Okay, that's none. That's okay. Let's just go to object mode. So I'm gonna speed up a little bit here, and then we're gonna go to animate the eggs to be able to squash and stretch. So what we go to get an create a new armature, single bone, right? And I want to go to bone property. Sorry, go to the armature property, and then go to viewport display, and then put it in front. And so that means your bone, no matter what angle you're looking at your model, your bone will be in front of your model. Right? So again, let's bring it down to the bottom. And then go to edit mode, and then we're going to choose this, and then E to create a new bone, right? And then E. So there's 3 bones here. Okay. So next, what we want to do is we want to change this armature from octahedral into B-bone. It changed. The B-bone is like what they call it, a bendy bone. So the bone will be able, you can bend your bone. So next, as you can see, it's connected there. And then what you want to do is Control Alt S. You can select, so Control Alt S. I'm going to change the size of the bone. You need to, the shortcut key is Control Alt S, and like make this smaller so you can tell the difference. So you want to name your bone. So this is top. This is bottom. I'm sorry, middle. Always name your bones if you creating a rig for your character, because it's very important to know which bone is which in order to connect it properly when you're doing the what do you call it again? It's constraint. Okay, so we're going to click in the middle here, and then we're going to go check the bendy bones. And as you can see the segment here, we're going to change it into 4 segments. So you can, 4 segments here. And as you can see, it works really well. But if we go to pose mode, when you want to move this bone, you can't move the bone anywhere, right? Because it's attached. So let's go back to edit mode. Again, press Alt P. That will clear the parent, right? So that means this is attached. Okay. And then we're going to the pose mode again. You can change that object edit pose mode here on the top left here. Click the middle bone. And we want to go to bone constraint properties here. And you want to go to stretch to, right? And then you want to choose your armature. And this is why you need to know which bone is which. You want to connect it to the top bone. And now, if you want to move your bone to the top, it will follow, and then it will stretch. The middle bone will follow your top, the handle on the top here. Now, the next is, like, if you want to rotate, you see it doesn't rotate. The middle bone doesn't do anything. So we want to fix that by go to the middle bone again. And then you want to go to the bone property and go to the bendy bones here. And at the start handle here at the bottom, go to change it from automatic to absolute, and make sure the start handle you start at the bottom. And then for the end handle, absolute, and then you want to change it to top bone. Now, if you rotate, it will follow. Right? So, yay! Now you can get the bendy bones. Blah. Awesome. So now we're going to attach the object. Let's go to object mode. We're going to attach the object to the bone so you can animate it. So click the object, click the bone, and then Control P. You get armature deform, and then go with the automatic weight. Voila. Now you go to pose mode, You got your bendy egg. Woo! You got rotating egg. There, you can animate that, no problem. So let's see the render. As you can see, the texture is following the renders, no problem. And you can rotate it, right? So now you can pretty much animate it, which is really, I'm just gonna do a quick animations of the bone jump, the egg jumping. So I'm gonna click the top, the handle here, and then I'm going to press I. That's insert key, and then I'm gonna location and scale, location and rotation, and go to frame 10, and then I'm going to automatic key at the bottom here. There's an automatic key in the circle here. Click on that. That means that every time I move this, it will automatically insert a key for me. So 20 set, bring up, and you want to insert a key here on a 10, location rotation. And then next 20, you want to bring this up. And then bring it down again. So I'm just going to bring the Y into 0 and bring this one to 0 as well. So that's there you go. 50. It's animating. Yay! So there you go. I'm sorry that it's a little bit on a rush at the end there. So hopefully, like, you'll be able to replay this video and then try to follow that again in the next workshop. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me then, or you can send me an email if there's something that you're not understanding when you're working and when you're trying to recreate this whole process. Please do so. Please send me an email and forward me your questions, and I'll try to answer it as fast as I can. But yeah, have fun and play around with it. Play around with the sculpting tool, with the texture paints and the rigging of the bendy bone and animations. It doesn't have to be an egg. You can make a different model, but I suggest make a very simple model for now. Next workshop, we will try to create a more complicated character, which is like the bunny. I haven't figured out the style yet, but I'll have something ready for you for next workshop, so we can start doing a proper character sculpting. Essentially, the process will be the same. It's just a more detailed sculpting tutorial for the next one, or modeling the bunny. All right. Thank you again for coming, and I hope this tutorial today helped you starting your project. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys make. And I'll see you guys next workshop. Thank you.